Let's get straight to the point. Number 8. Depression, the biological buzzkill. Imagine your brain is a high-end gaming PC, but someone replaced the graphics card with a damp potato and deleted the joy.exe file. That's depression, folks. It's not just feeling bummed out because your favorite show got canceled. It's a full system shutdown where even the toaster feels like a formidable opponent. Scientifically, your neurotransmitters, specifically serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine, have basically gone on an indefinite strike without even leaving a picket line. Your hippocampus, the part of the brain that handles memory and emotion, can actually shrink because it's being pickled in cortisol, the stress hormone that nobody invited to the party. It's like your mind is convinced that staring at a beige wall is the most productive use of your time, because everything else requires a level of want that you simply don't possess. You aren't lazy. Your brain's reward system is just currently under construction with no completion date in sight. It's the ultimate biological buzzkill that turns your existence into a slow-motion walk through a vat of room-temperature molasses. Truly, it's the trial version of life, where all the fun features are permanently locked behind a gray, heavy paywall of chemical apathy.
Number 7. Anxiety disorder, the spicy disaster simulator. Ever wanted to feel like you're being hunted by a saber-toothed tiger while you're actually just standing in the bread aisle at the grocery store? Welcome to anxiety disorder, the brain's premium subscription to what if everything goes wrong? It's an overactive amygdala, your brain's almond-shaped panic button, screaming that a typo in an email is a life-threatening catastrophe. While your coworkers are worrying about lunch, your nervous system is prepping for the apocalypse, flooding your veins with adrenaline and cortisol like it's a clearance sale on stress. Scientifically, your prefrontal cortex, the logical adult in the room, has been tied up in the basement while the limbic system throws a rave. This isn't just stress, it's a physical glitch where your fight or flight response is stuck on fight, flight, and also maybe vomit. Your heart is racing at 140 BPM because you thought you heard a judgmental tone in a hello, and now you're mentally calculating the cost of moving to a remote cabin in Alaska. It's the ultimate disaster simulator that runs 24/7, consuming 90% of your CPU power to solve problems that literally don't exist yet. It's like having a smoke detector that goes off every time you have a spicy thought.
Number 6. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, the infinite browser tab. Ever walked into a room for your keys and ended up researching the evolution of the spork? Welcome to ADHD, the brain's equivalent of having 147 browser tabs open and 40 of them are playing music you can't find. It's not that you can't pay attention, it's that you're paying attention to everything at once. Scientifically, your prefrontal cortex, the office manager of your brain, is chronically understimulated because your dopamine receptors are essentially on a permanent coffee break. This leads to executive dysfunction, where the simple task of doing the dishes feels like trying to climb Everest in flip-flops. Your default mode network refuses to shut up, making your internal monologue sound like a caffeinated auctioneer. While everyone else is living in a linear timeline, you're stuck in time blindness, where 5 minutes is either a blink or an eternal age. It's like having a nuclear reactor for a mind, but the wiring was done by a squirrel on a sugar high. You're not lazy, your brain just requires a high-octane level of novelty to even consider functioning. It's a wild, distractible ride where you're the pilot, but the plane changes into a submarine every 10 minutes.
Number 5. Obsessive-compulsive disorder, the brain's broken record. Imagine your brain is a security expert who's actually a paranoid conspiracy theorist. OCD isn't just liking your pen straight, it's your mind insisting that if you don't tap the door frame 4 times, the universe will implode. It's a vicious loop between the orbitofrontal cortex and the basal ganglia, the parts of your brain that detect errors and start movements. Normally, when you finish a task, your brain sends a satisfied signal. In OCD, that signal is lost in the mail. Instead, you get a checking, Checking, still not sure, error message on repeat. Scientifically, it's an obsession, the intrusive thought, followed by a compulsion, the ritual, to temporarily quiet the screaming. It's like being forced to negotiate with a terrorist who lives in your own head and demands you wash your hands until they're raw just because you touched a suspicious doorknob. You know it's irrational, but your amygdala is screaming code red anyway. It's the ultimate mental glitch where your internal all clear button is permanently jammed, leaving you stuck in a loop of checking the stove while the house is clearly not on fire. It's exhausting, it's illogical, and it's definitely not a quirk.
Number 4, post-traumatic stress disorder, the uninvited time traveler. Imagine your memory is a filing cabinet, but instead of neat folders, someone threw a live grenade inside. That's PTSD. It's the brain's survival mode getting stuck in the on position long after the danger is past. Scientifically, your hippocampus, the librarian that dates and archives memories, gets overwhelmed, leaving traumatic events floating around as current events rather than past history. When you hear a car backfire, your amygdala doesn't just remember a scary moment, it hijacks your entire body, flooding you with enough adrenaline to fight a bear, even though you're just standing at a bus stop. This is hypervigilance, where your brain scans every room for exits like you're an undercover spy with a very bad pension plan. Your medial prefrontal cortex, which is supposed to tell the amygdala to chill out, basically goes offline, leaving the panic button to be pressed by every shadow or loud noise. It's like living in a haunted house where the ghosts are your own neurobiology, and the delete key for those memories has been physically removed from the keyboard. It's a glitch in time where your now is constantly being hijacked by a then that refuses to stay dead. Number 3. Bipolar disorder, the neurochemical roller coaster. Welcome to the ultimate emotional extreme sport where the safety harness is optional and the brakes are broken. Bipolar disorder isn't just having moods, it's your brain's chemistry acting like a DJ who can't decide between a funeral dirge and a 200 BPM techno rave. In the manic phase, your frontal lobe basically abdicates its throne, and your dopamine system goes into overdrive. You feel like a golden god who can solve world hunger and start a billionaire tech startup before breakfast, usually while spending your rent money on a collection of vintage unicycles. But what goes up must come crashing down into the depressive pole, where the lights go out and the everything is terrible siren starts blaring. Scientifically, this is a massive failure in mood regulation involving the circadian rhythm and mitochondrial function. Your brain cells literally struggle to manage their energy levels, leading to these wild oscillations between I am the sun and I am a literal void. It's an exhausting, high-stakes game of chemical tug-of-war where your sense of self is the rope. You're essentially a passenger in a vehicle driven by a neurotransmitter that has had way too much or nowhere near enough espresso. Number 2. Social anxiety disorder, the worst audience in the world. Imagine you're on stage at the Oscars, you've forgotten your pants, and the entire audience is composed of your harshest middle school bullies. Now, imagine feeling that way just because you have to ask a waiter for extra napkins. Welcome to social anxiety disorder, where your brain treats a simple hello like a high-stakes interrogation by the FBI. This isn't just being shy, it's an overactive amygdala perceiving social evaluation as a literal death threat. Scientifically, your brain's salience network is dialed up to 11, hyper-focusing on every microexpression and perceived eye roll as proof of your total social failure. While you're trying to act normal, your blood is diverted from your brain to your muscles, in case you need to sprint away from a casual conversation about the weather. It's a brutal cycle of post-event rumination where you spend 3 business days analyzing a 2-second stutter. You're essentially a high-performance computer running a background program called everyonehatesyou.exe that consumes 100% of your RAM, leaving you standing there like a frozen NPC. It's the ultimate mental paradox. You're desperately lonely, but the cure, other people, feels like walking into a blender.
Number 1. Borderline personality disorder, The emotional third-degree burn. Imagine walking through life with no skin, where even a slight breeze feels like a blowtorch. That's borderline personality disorder, or BPD, the brain's version of an emotional house of mirrors. It's not just being dramatic, it's a biological inability to find the volume knob on your feelings. Scientifically, your amygdala is hyper-responsive, reacting to a read receipt with the same intensity as a literal house fire. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that's supposed to say, hey, chill out, is effectively napping under its desk. This creates a fear of abandonment so aggressive it acts like a psychological black hole, often accidentally sucking the life out of relationships while trying to save them. Your sense of self is a total shapeshifter. You change personalities faster than a spy in a B-movie because your internal core is basically a question mark. Neurobiology reveals a disruption in the white matter pathways, meaning the brakes on your emotions were never installed at the factory. It's like being the lead in a Shakespearean tragedy every single day, where every minor critique is an assassination attempt. You aren't toxic, your nervous system is just permanently stuck in extreme survival mode while everyone else is playing on easy.
Look, if any of this hit too close to home, go talk to a pro. You wouldn't fix a broken engine with just a YouTube video, so treat your brain with the same respect. Seeking help is the ultimate power move. If you enjoyed the chaos, smash that like button, share, and subscribe. We post every single day here at Coolest Dude Explains. Stay sharp and take care of your hardware. See ya.